Hey guys, welcome to Outpost Gray. I'm so excited as always because we've got another amazing guest on the show. If you're new here, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jax Scott, and you've just landed in the most amazing YouTube world of Outpost Gray, which is in collaboration with Grant Thornton Public Sector. And really quickly, just to let you know, any thoughts and opinions that you hear on this show are of my own unique thoughts and opinions and not Grant Thornton Public Sector's thoughts and opinions. So as you can see, if you've come to my show before, this is not my typical background. And if you've been following me this week, first off, thank you. I love it. I already see the chat is starting to get engaged. James, Kimberly, Cybersecurity Central, you guys are the best. Thank you for showing up to this live stream. We are on site at RSA 2022, and we are doing live streams with some key leaders in the cybersecurity space. And the individual that I'm meeting with today is my dear friend, Deidre Diamond. She is the CEO of CyberNS and the founder of SecureDiversity.org. And we're going to dive into what those are, and we're going to dive in and get a little spicy on talking about diversity and the new emerging culture that we're starting to see with the younger generation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on the guest. Deidre, how are you?
Hey, it's great to be with you.
It's so crazy to see her in person. I love this woman. Seriously, you are a big mentor of mine. I think I've stalked you for quite a while before I connected with you, but you are not only are you making huge waves as a woman in this space, but then you're impacting the diversity landscape. It's amazing.
I appreciate it. I always enjoy talking to you. You ask the best questions. You go deeper than the surface. And so I'm happy to be with you. And I'm even happier to hear that my shares and my content really helps.
It does. It's a huge impact. I know that there are some people that are watching this that also feel the same way. For anybody that doesn't know you, because they may not know who Deidre is and you're gonna learn now, can you share a high level, because we don't have a lot of time, share a high level of who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So as the founder and CEO of CyberNS, my day job is solving this massive job searching problem that we have in cybersecurity. We have it everywhere, but certainly in cybersecurity. And since I've been in cybersecurity since 2007, building organizations, I really am inspired to solve it because it causes a lot of pain and suffering, and we don't have time for it. And so that's what CyberNS is. Where talent meets its match. We're using technology and common language taxonomy and for jobs and roles and responsibilities to really make it easy to find each other and match ourselves to jobs so that we can focus on the stuff that is really about retention oriented, and we're just chasing our tail all the time. So that's what I spend my daytime doing, and my nighttime is really building cultures that people can prosper in. And it is a job that is past daytime. But as a founder and a CEO, I don't mind. I like it a lot.
How many jobs right now are available in the cybersecurity industry?
So right now, and you can find it at cybersn.com, there's 95,000 plus jobs that were posted in the last 45 days. So we keep those jobs only the last 45 days, certainly the US for now. And that's just posted. That's not open. There's well over 1 million open.
Yeah. And definitely go check it out. Kimberly, I see you in there. If you wouldn't mind dropping her website, cybersn.com, into the chat, that would be great. Go in there, hone your career. I think that's what it actually says on the website. Scroll to the bottom. You'll see the positions. It also breaks down if you're curious about, wow, what do I want to do in this field? She does a great job at also breaking down different roles and responsibilities to help you really define if you want to be a SOC analyst, if you want to be a red teamer. So let's dive into a little bit talking about, you're the founder of SecureDiversity.org.
Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about what you do there?
Yeah, well, after founding CyberNS a little over 8 years ago, it wasn't far into it, maybe a year into it, where I realized that my story was so rare. I'm 51 now, so that was 8 years ago. All of a sudden, people are asking me questions like, "How did you do what you doing?" And I even not just founded my own firm, but I funded it, and I did all of that from literally my work in tech for 20 something years. And that's when I realized, wow, I have a different story than my sisters. I need to get involved. What is going on? And I thought I can use my, experience and my resume, if you will, and of cybersecurity, and I can do something here just because of my power of where I've gotten my career to. And so I thought I need to put my money where my mouth is, and I founded securediversity.org a little over 5 years ago, and we do amazing things. The one that I'm super proud of is Day of Security event, which is
I spoke at that one.
Yes,
it was awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a free conference for women to teach and for women to learn and for women to come into cybersecurity, those with experience. And it's all topics: red team, blue team, GRC, EQ, management, and it's free. And it's 5 years going, and we will keep it free. And of course, we're doing things now with SANS to empower women into the power seats, and creating cohorts and sponsoring that. So it's really important for me to help lift the glass ceiling. And I'm just, I'm 5 years into this journey myself of being an ally and getting the need to be an ally and what it means and why. And yet, there's so much work to do. It's wild. And it's no one thing,
No, and it's a community together of like helping, because it can't just be you trying to lead the change in diversity. It wouldn't work. We have to come together and work together as a community to see that change. And what I love, going back to security, one of the things that I really liked about security, and I think I spoke in 2020 or 2021, and I was just getting into public speaking, and I was super nervous in 2020. Can you believe it? And I'm doing a live stream now. And when your site actually asked questions about, have you done public speaking before? When was the last one you did it? And they encourage individuals that have not done public speaking to come out and use this platform as a way to get yourself comfortable. So that's what I really loved, because I felt extremely comfortable going into that environment. Unlike, RSAC, they expect a certain level, but it's like, this is a safe space. Come in and share what your thoughts are.
It's safe. It's not pay for play. So while we have amazing sponsors, the sponsors don't pick the keynotes and they don't pick the main stage. And so that's exactly the point, Jackson. That's what I love the most, is how many women say to me, it was because of Day of Security where my first talk, that now I'm out talking all the time and I feel comfortable, and I have sisterhood. And that's not to say that, we want to not have other hoods, if you will. It's to say that there's just a comfort in it. And really, it took me a while to buy into ever having an event that was just women, truthfully.
Really?
Yes, my team brought me the idea, and I was like, oh, wow, I'm not sure, because without men, we go nowhere. They're in power, so we need them.
And you had a really good experience with men.
And
I
did.
A phenomenal story.
I did, and yet, I of course, if my team wants to do something, I'm going to empower them. I am not the only person with has desires, and so I said, okay, let's do it. And then I went to the first one, and I experienced what it felt like for that sisterhood and that comfort. And I watched all these women who were, in the beginning of the day, 300, sitting in auditorium, super not talking to each other, not really knowing, nervous and all this, right? And then literally just hours later, the buzz, the camaraderie, the sister, like you could feel it. And that stayed and stayed and still stays. And WeSys is doing this, CyberJitsu is doing this. We're all out there, offering that safe space to learn and grow, and also saying it's not about just doing this. And it's about also, of course, engaging men. And yet there's just, it's so special. So now I was like, okay, we got to do more of this. I had goosebumps that day and all day. And so now I need both.
I love that. Oh, I love that. So definitely go and check that out if you've been interested about engaging and wanting to get more involved in speaking or even volunteering. So day of security.
Yeah.
I've got a question speaking about your team, and I love this. It was perfect timing for it. Cybersecurity Central said, how do you keep up with everything? You must have an amazing team. So many contributions to the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And my story is all about teams. Not only did I work for men, I worked for them for 21 years, and they brought me into their culture, which was, we don't care about gender, age, or anything. We care about performance and good culture. And it's about taking people with us and growing and developing within. And so I just took that as a young adult out of college and was like, right on, this is awesome. Not knowing that there wasn't, that there was anything else other than that, just it worked. And, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
You can build teams where people are super successful and also have morally safe environments. It can be done. It can be done.
100%.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. And I was just having this conversation with a lovely woman on my team earlier today about, it's not easy to be moral authority. Who wants it? Most people are scared out of their minds. Corporations don't want to touch it. I was brought into a place where it was like, that was like day one meetings about how we behave, how we act, how we interact, how we talk, what words we use, we don't use, what we wear, what we don't wear, in terms of just, to breed an environment that is focused on equality. There is a certain way to do that, whether people like it or not. And so we, for me, it was just natural to grab that and build teams with that concept, and then of course adding and growing with them and what have you. And so I do have great teams, and I have great retention, and I always have. And I understand that that's because I'm willing to participate in the conversation of keeping environments fair and equal, and own the mistakes that come with that as much as the glory of the success that comes with that.
There was a couple of things that you mentioned that I want to touch on that you were talking about, and I'm rewording, I'm ad-libbing it, but talking about like developing that culture and having ethics within that culture. And I feel like, because I've worked in, unfortunately, toxic environments. Where I'm at today, if anybody's ever talked to me, I've drank all of the purple at Grant Thornton. I love where I'm at, but I can tell you it's because of the culture.
Yeah.
It's because of my team, the collaboration, how supportive my bosses are. I've never experienced that before. And I'm like trying to recruit people to my team because I feel like more people need to experience this type of environment. And you, about your origin story, you actually share part of that as like how you got to where you were at today, because you had that great upbringing, but then you started to realize, wow, not everybody has the same story as me. And so I want to pivot a little bit about some of the things that we're seeing with the new generation. We call it the new generation coming in, the young professionals, cybersecurity professionals that are breaking into this industry. Some leaders are having a challenge with either connecting with them or feeling like they have to say, and I've heard this, that they have to drop their standards to their level. And that could be because the younger generation isn't going to put up with certain things that our generation put up with. And they don't want to work in toxic environments. They don't care about the foosball table. They want a good culture. They want to be treated fair. They want to have a safe space. So I'm curious on your thoughts about those leaders that are seeing this new generation coming in as a challenge instead of a way of seeing it as, okay, we can make some change and we can meet them at the middle. Like, what's your thoughts about how can we better serve this younger generation?
Yeah. All I can hear in my head is I don't know about your parents, but I used to be told, I used to walk, when I wanted a car, I used to walk uphill in snow, it's
Both
like,
ways.
and that's what I'm hearing in my head, at the end of the day, all humans want the same thing. Just because our generation didn't speak up about it as much as this generation is willing to do, doesn't mean that our generation wouldn't have preferred a mentally safe environment that also paid them well and took care of them, right? It's just, we weren't as advanced in allowing true free speech like we are today. And of course, like anything good comes challenges. And so I think that this new generation is struggling with, there's 45 job categories underneath 10 45 job functions under 10 categories in cybersecurity. Which one do I focus on? I'm getting all these different types of trainings that aren't aligned with one particular job in these classes and things I'm doing, and they don't know how to get in. And we, as hiring managers, don't have budgets for like succession planning and absorbing them. So I think that everybody's frustrated. There's a lack of budgets to really train and develop people, and you have to do that. You just do.
You have to invest in your people.
You have to, and it's hard. I feel so bad for this community. It's one of the reasons why we have to solve the easy stuff, like, applying to a job and it not be, 100 hours of work in 6 months or a year for, people to find the right match type of stuff. But we've got a problem with bringing in new folks, and it's not because they're different or there's something wrong with them, or I don't buy into any of that stuff. They're just humans.
Yeah. Do you think it really is at the leadership level where we need more education for them to kind of understand because I don't know, is diversity a buzzword, do you feel like, in some organizations, or do you think they actually understand what diversity and inclusion means?
I think that everybody understands that if we're gonna, be a community that wins, we have to include everybody. I don't think that means that people know how to do that by any means. Everything from how to find those folks, some companies are still struggling with, which should be quite easy at this point. You call schools and you align, and yet there's that. And then there's the people who have all the intentions and put everything into it and actually attract these folks, but their cultures aren't inclusive. And so diversity is only a result of inclusion first. And so I think companies right now are really trying to figure out, what is inclusion? What does it look like? And that's where I say, it's not one thing. I will tell you, and I did a talk on this recently where I rolled out the standards. There are the basics and the standards that if we have in place, we can have inclusion. And one of the biggest ones is roles and responsibilities clearly defined. Like, otherwise you got politics and all kinds of like who gets promoted, why, and is not, sort of fair. And without that baseline, there's no such thing as inclusion. So there's one of the, 12 that I rolled out, not too long ago, last year. So there is a formula. It's a science. I tell people, like, you folks are all math folks and, super scientists. Like, this is a science. There has, in terms of inclusive environments, there's a piece on language and behavior and what that has to be. And if we have to be willing to engage that. And then it's about, we're not just kick people out and throw them out either. How do you work with people when people make mistakes? And so it's complex. And yet, my gosh, I think to myself, I couldn't put somebody on the moon or build some software that is saving lives. And yet, there's so much more destruction going on in the words out of our mouths or the words that we type. And that I can, see as clear as day as math to me. You know?
So organizations that could be listening to this right now, or leaders within organizations that handle the diversity and handle the inclusion within their orgs that might be struggling with this, are there 1 to 2 things that you can provide to them that are like simple, or tips and tricks that you can say, these 2 things will be the first steps to help you with moving in the right direction?
Yeah, well, I think that, clear promotion criteria is on that list of 12 and really is the framework, because at the end of the day, we're all working in order to survive and put a roof over our head and all these things. And we all want more to achieve more. That's where capitalism is. And so if there isn't that clear, defined process, well, then it's going to end up being whoever's in power. And, diversity people in general aren't in power, and they're not, we all people hire their friends, and all of a sudden it's just a unfair environment, even with sort of good intentions. So that is just huge, and it falls with roles and responsibilities. And the others, you have to be willing to take on helping people that don't know how to speak in an inclusive way. The words we use, the having rules on that. Has to happen. And it has to start with the top. It can't be that executives or seniors have one standard of language and others not, so I think those are the top 2 for me that cause people to leave their jobs. Those are the 2 biggest things.
Wow. So would you say that we're, as a collective, cybersecurity community as a collective, that we are doing a baseline, let's just say, good job within diversity and inclusion?
I think that because of great organizations like the ones I mentioned earlier, we are certainly bringing more women in and supporting them and getting up and running and having careers. What I see, and that needs to continue and grow like crazy, and I believe it will. What I see is a lot of glass ceiling. And that's why the keynote that I did this week for the awards gala was so important to me, in that it's my journey too, sort of even having the revelation that my story is so rare just 5-6 years ago, to continuing to talk about it and bring information to people to where I'm at today. It's even clearer how much work we have to do to break those glass ceilings. They exist.
Yeah.
And so, I wrote this poem for the gala event
and she's going to read it, but really quick, we're going to talk about the gala event that they had. And you actually invited me into it, and unfortunately I couldn't go, but it's on Sunday. But share a little bit about the gala and the purpose of it.
Yeah, a wonderful woman, Carmen Marsh, and a great team that she has, and they spend a lot of time, her and her organization, even bringing women into cybersecurity, and she's just a social servant. She realized that there's a lot of us out there and really working to be allies, and wanted to find a way to recognize them, and so she started this a few years ago. And it was an honor to keynote the event, and the request was to 5 minutes or less. So as I mentioned to you, I'm like, yeah, wow, I don't think I've ever done anything 5 minutes or less, and yet I have so much I want to say to all these amazing people, and share so much that goes on up here in my mind on this conversation, because I'm constantly thinking about it.
Yeah.
It really is bothersome. It is, a problem that it feels isolating sometimes, even for myself, to be, to have so much more than what others have or have been given at work. And that is, it's interesting. So it all came out in this poem. It's 3 minutes.
Yeah, and she's going to read it. So please, that would be awesome if you would.
You want to do it?
I didn't even realize the time. We've been talking for 25 minutes. And it was,
no way.
Yes. This happens every time.
Oh my God. We said 15.
This is like a third time for me and it always turns into us just talking. We were like 15 to 20 minutes, but we have to hear this poem.
Okay. All right. So again, awards dinner for allies of women. And the title is, Why Do I Need an Ally? I am a woman from a privileged life. Why do I need an ally? 1 in 4 girls are molested as a child. Why do I need an ally? 1 in 6 women are victims of rape. Why do I need an ally? Money buys health and safety, and yet only 11% of women are billionaires. Why do I need an ally? Women are said to be equal, and yet there are laws that govern their bodies. Why do I need an ally? Women are said to have equal employment opportunities, and yet men dominate the power seats. Why do I need an ally? Women are said to be safe at work, and yet 28% of women working in male-dominated professions reported sexual harassment. Why do I need an ally? I am a woman, and I now know I need allies. I was molested for years as a child and a teenager. I needed allies to heal. I dreaded school because I was fat, my body's natural way of protecting me. I needed allies to see me through school, so I had a chance at health and safety. I was 9 when my sister committed suicide due to her years of sexual abuse. I needed allies to convince me life can be good. I was told I can't be an attorney because I must get married and have children. I needed allies to encourage me to provide for myself and graduate college. I see my sisters having less opportunity than I, especially those sisters of color. I need allies to lift up my broken heart. I live in a society with laws that harm myself and my sisters. I need allies to fight against injustice. I am a woman. I have created socioeconomic power that grants me safety. I am a woman. 2 entrepreneurial men hired me out of college and provided me with an opportunity in tech and cybersecurity for 21 years. I am a woman lucky to be of the 15% who are truly given equal opportunity and support at work. I am a woman who represents 2.3% of women who are the sole founders of a tech company. I am a woman who represents the less than 1% of women who have self-funded and solely founded a tech company. I am a woman. I needed allies every step of the way. I am a woman. I long for the day when no human needs allies. I am a woman. I pray that the generations to come will be allies to each other regardless of gender. Until that day, join me, join us, be an ally, stand up for equality, fight for equality, and be equality. For if you don't, my story will be just a rare, lucky story to be told on stages like this. This is why I need an ally.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
It's a lot there.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. Those percentages are ridiculous. And it's all about having opportunity. It is wild how much people don't get it. So I'm happy it makes people feel and see, and I can feel it and see it with you now. And that's what I want, is to really help illustrate, like, we have so much work to do, you know, and it's we need everybody to really get this, you know?
Yeah. No, that's lovely. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna do a wrap.
I love you.
But
I love you so much. I've tried reading it so many times I don't cry anymore. I put it together over the weekend, and it was emotional for people in my life to read it as well. So it's been lovely to connect over it with people.
Yeah, that was definitely, I bet the room was completely silent.
And then a nice, standing applause.
Yeah, I would have stood.
Lots of hugs and people just coming up and being thankful for saying what is really happening for most women. It's not a simple equation. It starts young, the barriers.
Yeah.
And it's a system that breeds a thought process, and there's so much. And yet, what a wonderful story, the two men, that lifted me and gave me, it's just.
Yeah, if you don't know Deidre's story, you've got to go and find her. It's pretty easy to find her. You just Google her name. And her story, her origin story is really profound. Well, I know that we're definitely a little over time. You're definitely my longest interview, but no regrets, #no regrets. Final thoughts that you would like to share with the viewers?
I'd like to say that, to get involved means to be willing to stand up. It's not to say that, of course, I want this. Most people want the equality to happen. It's not going to happen. And so my thing is to the men, we need you. Help us. And I can tell you that, it's not about men or women or at all. It's about us together.
Absolutely. And to everybody that hopped in here, Lola, I saw you as well. You're amazing. Lola is an amazing cybersecurity woman coming up. She's in Japan right now. Hey.
Hi.
Everybody who showed up today, thank you. You're the reason that I do this. I can't say that enough. Final thoughts from me. We're almost at 700 subscribers. So if you're watching this for the first time, thank you. I would encourage you, if this, affected you in a positive way, go ahead, like the video, share it out, subscribe, get others to subscribe. My goal is to hit 700 by the end of this week. We'll be doing another live interview at 8 p.m., roughly 8:15 p.m. PST. So it's 11 p.m. EST with Alyssa Knight. And we're going to be on site for her movie premiere tonight. So don't miss that. You are amazing. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we are signing out. Thanks again. Bye.